Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this.
For many of us who grew up in Japan, there was one thing every household had: a video game console. Like Biggie says, back then, owning a Nintendo, a Sega, or later a PlayStation wasn't cheap. A teenager couldn't just buy one on their own. You needed a TV that wasn't being used, and most importantly, parents who said yes. But here's the truth. Parents often got annoyed at kids spending hours in front of the screen. The real heroes, grandparents. They were the ones who gave in during birthdays, Christmas, or family visits. Nothing felt better than walking home with a brand new game that grandma or grandpa had just bought. That's how gaming spread, not just as technology, but as family culture. The story of home video games actually starts in the United States. In 1972, Magnavox released the Odyssey, designed by a team led by a former military electronics engineer. It was simple. Connect it to your TV and control dots of light on the screen. A year later, Japanese companies jumped in. Sega released Pongtron, and Taito launched Elapong. These were the very first computer games made in Japan. Then in 1977, Atari changed everything with the Atari 2600. Instead of buying a whole new machine for each game, you could swap cartridges. The system was revolutionary, until companies flooded the market with low-quality games. Customers lost trust, and Atari crashed hard. In Japan around 1980, the real craze was Game & Watch, a tiny LCD handheld where each unit only played one game. The images were printed onto the screen, and only certain parts lit up to create movement. Simple, but addictive. Then in 1983 came the big one, the family computer, or Famicom. Just like the Atari, it used cartridges, but Nintendo made it sturdier. Instead of fragile joysticks, it introduced the D-pad, something kids couldn't break by stepping on. The price? 14,800 yen. Way out of reach for a child's allowance. That's why it was literally a family computer. Parents had to buy it. In 1985, Nintendo took a side character from Mario Bros. And gave him the spotlight. Super Mario Bros. Unlike earlier games stuck on one screen, Mario's world scrolled endlessly, across 32 levels, creating a sense of adventure no one had seen before. Kids would gather at the one friend's house who had it, playing until the sun went down. Secrets like hidden one-up mushrooms or warp zones spread only by word of mouth. No internet, no YouTube tutorials, just playground rumors. That's how Mario became a legend.
Hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show!
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
By the late 80s, shooting games were everywhere. But the catch? You had to press the button for every single shot. The faster you tapped, the better you did. Kids even held button mashing contests just for fun. Then RPGs took over. Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy both launched around the same time. Gamers split into two camps, DQ loyalists and FF fans. The problem? The Famicom had no save feature. Turn off the console and all your progress vanished. This gave rise to cheats, hacks, and tricks. Anything to protect your hours of adventure. By the late 80s, saving data became possible with battery backup. Games grew longer and deeper. In 1988, Sega released the Mega Drive. It brought arcade-style games home, appealing to slightly older players, but despite add-ons like the Mega CD in 32X, it never hit Famicom-level popularity.
メガドライブの16ビットソフトシリーズが面白さぶっちぎりでドッカンとデビュー。まずは10王機、そしてスペースハリアー2。やっぱゲームは16ビット。You homeboy. Sega.
Then came 1989. Game Boy, portable, powered by 4 AA batteries, and bundled with Tetris. Suddenly, gaming wasn't just stuck to the living room. It was in your backpack.
ゲームボーイで対戦型テトリス。 ケーブルをつなぐと新しいテトリスに出会える。ファミコンでは味わえなかった面白さ。この興奮はやった2人にしかわからない。ゲームボーイソフト対戦型テトリス新登場。
By 1990, Nintendo launched the Super Famicom with extra buttons and more complex gameplay. Gaming was evolving fast.
Konnichiwa, konnichiwa, Super Famicom. Konnichiwa, konnichiwa, Mario mo.
In the early 90s, arcades exploded with fighting games. The leader was Street Fighter II. It introduced command inputs, combos, and special moves that defined arcade culture. Then in 1994, Sega answered with the Sega Saturn.
Introducing Sega Saturn. Aww, hit it. Sega's next-generation gaming platform. Revolutionary sports and arcade gameplay. All with amazing new 3D experiences never before possible on home game systems. Wow.
While Sony entered the ring with the PlayStation.
Hello, citizens of Europe. As spokesperson for SAPS, the Society Against PlayStation, I'd like to talk to you about a menace threatening humanity. It's happening right here, in our very homes, and corrupting the lives of our loved ones. Yes, friends, I'm talking about this. It may look like a harmless bagel toaster, but inside is a deadly donut. How do you know PlayStation is not a normal game system? It carries these telltale signs. Scientists say its effects are mind-boggling. Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Here we have a normal, healthy young man. And here we have a fellow who's been experimenting with PlayStation for only a few minutes. Proof that we saps must be on our guard. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Both pushed 3D graphics, and the term next-gen console became part of the conversation. Other companies tried to join the race. Panasonic's 3DO, NEC's PCFX, Bandai's Playdia, even the Apple-backed Pippin. Most barely lasted a year. The real battle was Saturn versus PlayStation, and Nintendo preparing their N64. By the late 90s, PlayStation and Saturn dominated. But in 1998, Sega launched the Dreamcast. It was ahead of its time, with online play and powerful graphics.
ゆかでございます。この度はドリームキャストの生産が追いつかず、誠に申し訳ございません。
なんとかしてよ。
はい、この責任を取りまして、私専務降格となりました。
降格？どうしてあなたが責任取らなきゃいけないの？
なんでだろう。
そんなの関係ない。言ってくれ。
ごもっともでございます。しかし。
武田君。みんな、ごめんね。
しょうがねえな。
Yet by 2000, Sony crushed the competition with the PlayStation 2. The PS2 had everything: vertical design for tight spaces, backward compatibility for PlayStation 1 games, and even DVD playback. It wasn't just a console, it was an all-in-one entertainment system.
さらにデュアルショックも進化。各ボタンがアナログ対応になったのでより多彩な入力が可能に。メモリーカードは 8MB にアップ。なんと従来の64倍という大容量。もちろんこれだけじゃない。 DVD 再生機能、初代プレステソフト対応、ネット配信サービスなどなど21世紀のエンターテインメントを全て集約したのがこのプレステ2なのだ。
Nintendo followed in 2001 with the GameCube. Many of us remember afternoons playing Mario Party, Smash Bros., or even baseball games like Power Puro with friends. The Cube had charm, but the PS2 was unstoppable. As the 2000s went on, broadband internet became normal, and widescreen TVs became common. Suddenly, games looked like real life. HD graphics made people say, "This is basically a movie." But something changed. Western games started taking the lead. Halo, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty. Japan was no longer the sole king of gaming. Online updates, downloadable content, and microtransactions became the new business model. Still, Japanese giants kept innovating. Sony with PlayStation 3, 4, and 5, and Nintendo with the Wii, DS, 3DS, and of course, the Switch. From the Odyssey to the Switch, from Mario to Final Fantasy, from arcades to online gaming, Japan's role in shaping video games is undeniable. But the future? That's the real question. With AI, VR, and cloud gaming, how will the next generation of games look? Will Japan take the lead again, or will the global stage dominate? What do you think?